He has to believe. So he wrote it on the card, the prayer of petition, and said, this is what he wants. This is the amount he wants with the scriptures, and he went. And he said God didn't only met the budget, but the meeting was successful with people getting blessed and his life impacted after that seminar. Now, by the middle of 1973, he began to sense in his spirit that the Lord was leading him to launch out on his own. But he was not ready to leave Brother Copeland because he remembered the prophecy that the two are going to become a team. So he kept struggling with it until finally he decided, okay, let him share with Brother Copeland. So by the time he shared with him, he said yes. He actually picked it in the spirit. And he said, but what about the prophecy? He said, just take some time and pray about it. So he took some time and began praying about it because he has told the Lord he was ready to serve Brother Copeland for the rest of his life. He was not thinking of his own ministry. He was not thinking of starting his own ministry. He was just ready to serve him for the rest of his life. So when he took some time praying, by the time he was holding a meeting in October of 1973, and during the break time, he would take some time to go and stay under a big oak tree and just pray in the house of where he was hosted. So one of those times as he was praying, he heard the Lord said, you will launch into your own ministry January 1, 1974. So while he was still arguing with the Lord about it, because he still wants to just serve Brother Copeland, and the Lord told him something. You will always serve Brother Copeland. You will always be a team. But by you launching out into your ministry, the team will be able to reach as much territory with the same message. So he said, okay. And then he went and when he got back from the meeting, he shared it with Brother Copeland. So he told him, okay. And then he told him something. Don't pay me the last month, that's December. He said he has to learn, since he's launching, he has to learn to believe God for his finances. That he shouldn't pay him. He's still going to serve him as he's supposed to do and everything, but he shouldn't pay him. He's going to believe God. He's going to believe God because Kenneth Copeland is not going to be there, and then Kenneth Copeland Evangelistic Association is not going to be there giving him salary. So he has to learn. So for 1 month, he served him without salary. Now, by the time he was released, the first meeting he had was a man called Charles Capps. He was in a meeting, and the daughter of Charles Capps came and met him. He said, you talk like my daddy. And he was like, who's your daddy? And she said, Charles Capps. He has never heard of him. So she said she's going to bring the father and the mom to the meeting. So by the time they met, they went out for lunch, and they preached to each other as they were eating, because there was this kindred spirit. So afterwards, he invited him to, Charles Capps was a farmer, he invited him to come and hold a meeting. Now, when he was done holding that particular meeting, that the lady came and said, my dad, Charles Capps, he was actually giving some money. So he was believing God for the money. So he got some money. And then when he went, Charles Capps, when he was going, he gave him $5,000. And that was the first time he was giving that kind of amount. He kept shouting all through home, giving God the glory. Now, by the time he came back, he wanted to get an office. Somebody came and met him and said he has his office that's already furnished with a table. Everything he needs is inside the office, and he's going to give him for $2,250, thereabouts. So by the time it was 2 weeks into January, he was fully launched with full office that was furnished, with money in the bank, and with so much invitations. He was not looking for invitations. He has so much invitations. Hallelujah. So now he knew that the same message was being carried as twice as much into various territories. In the year of, there are some certain testimonies that I want to just share. There was a time, he was living by faith. There was a time he wanted tires for his cars. He was in a meeting and going back. So he wanted tires for his cars and was believing God for it. So he was driving, and all of a sudden, a truck that was carrying tires was in front of him, and 2 tires rolled down from it and was coming towards him. and the car was going. So they stopped, picked the tires, and by the time he checked, it was the exact fit for his car. So by the time they went around and asked, okay, different companies, they are missing tires, nobody owned up that they are missing any tires. And that was how God provided brand new tires for his car. Thank you. All right. Then there was another testimony. There's another testimony of his car. It was a pretty new car. As they were going, something happened to the gas tank. It punctured, and it was just leaking. And he was there with his wife and his babies, and he was wondering, how is it going to be? So they had to go back. By the time they went back, they saw a particular diner, and they saw a car repair shop by the side. And he was happy because it was like in the middle of nowhere. So he went in, and he saw the place was well furnished. Everything was there. So he told the man, can you fix? He saw the man there, can you fix this? And the man said yes. So he took time, fixed it, and I wanted to pay him. And the man said, no, that's what we do. So he said, okay. So he entered the car, and they left. Another time when he was going through that route, when he came, he saw the diner, but that shop was missing. So he said, he asked the person around that, okay, there's a particular shop here. He fixed his car, and the man said, there's no such place like this. He said, are you sure? Somebody fixed my car some months ago. And he said no, that there used to be one, but it was like 30 years ago. And that was when he knew an angel has fixed his car. Because the man fixed and refused to collect me because he wanted to thank him again. And he said,